Hi everyone, welcome back to 9th standard maths class. We are learning the chapter parallel lines. Now our next subheading, first section over. Now next subheading is triangle division. Here in this section you have to learn four concepts. Okay, four concepts you have to learn, then only you can solve theorems or proof question. Okay, so first one is, in any triangle, a line drawn parallel to a side cuts the other two sides in the same ratio. This is the first one. So here we have a triangle. So in any triangle, a line drawn parallel to a side. That means here we have two parallel lines. This is the base line and this is the parallel line of this base side. Okay, now if we have like this, okay, if any line parallel to a side, so this line parallel to this side of the triangle, if it is so, then it cuts the line, it cuts the other two sides in the same ratio. That means this line cuts these two sides of the triangle in a particular parts. These two parts will be in the same ratio. Let's mark the points as A, B, C, then DE. So this is the line parallel to one side of the triangle, and that parallel line will cut the other two sides in the same ratio. That means here AD, the part AD is to DC. This is the second part. AD is to DC will be equal to, next part is what? Next one is BE. This is the second part. That is BE is to, next is EC or CE. Okay, this is the concept. Not measurement equal, only ratios will be equal. The parts will be in the same ratio. This is the first concept. Now the second concept is a line which divides two sides of a triangle in the same ratio, then that line will be parallel to third side. That means just a reverse of this concept. Here, if these two are parallel, then these two sides will be same ratio. For the second concept, it is if a line cut the two sides in the same ratio. Suppose this DE cuts these two sides in the same ratio, then we can say that this DE is parallel to AB. That is the second one, just a reverse. That's why I am not writing. Okay. So both are correct. If these two sides are in the same ratio, then these two will be parallel. If these two sides are parallel, then these two sides will be in the same ratio. Okay, so this is the second part, second concept. Now the third one. Third concept is the length of a line joining the midpoint of two sides of a triangle is half the length of the third side. That means length of line joining midpoint of two sides. Consider this triangle ABC. Suppose this D point and this E point are midpoint of these two sides. D is the midpoint of AC and E is the midpoint of CB. If it is so, the line joining these two midpoints, that means length of DE will be half of the third side. Third side means other than these two sides. So D and E are the part of AC and CB. Midpoints are part of AC and BC. So third side will be AB. Okay, so if D and E are the midpoints, then the line joining these two midpoints, the length of DE will be half of AB. Suppose this AB, this measurement AB is 6 centimeter. Then this length of DE will be 3 centimeter. Only when D and E are midpoints. Okay, suppose AC is 5 centimeter and BC is 7 centimeter. And D is the midpoint, that is 2.5, and E is a midpoint, that is 3.5. If it is so, we can say that this length DE is half of the line AB, that is half of 6, 3 centimeter. Okay, so this is third concept. One more is there. That is, in any triangle, all the perpendicular from the vertices to the opposite side passes through a single point. So this is a triangle. So in any triangle, all the perpendicular from the vertices. So three vertices are there for a triangle. Okay, three vertices A, B, C. Now from all these vertices, if we have a perpendicular to the opposite side, okay, consider A. A's opposite side is what? BC is the opposite side. A is the vertex and its opposite side is BC. So from A to this line BC, we have a perpendicular. This is the perpendicular line, 90-degree line. Similarly, consider the vertex B. This vertex B's opposite side is AC. So this is the perpendicular line. This line is a perpendicular line. And consider the vertex is C. So opposite side is AB. So this is the perpendicular side. All these perpendicular side will meet a common point. That is the concept. All the perpendicular from the vertices to the opposite side passes through a single point. Okay. So this is the last concept. Now let's move on to problems from page number 93. First question is, in the picture, the perpendicular is drawn from the midpoint of the hypotenuse of a right triangle to the base. Calculate the length of the third side of the larger right triangle and the length of all three sides of the small right triangle. In this question, we have a right triangle. We have a larger right triangle A, B, C. And AC is 10 centimeter and AB is 8 centimeter. Question is, find the length of third side of the larger triangle. That means third side is BC. BC we want to find. Then next we have to find all the three sides of the small triangle. Small triangle means ADE. Okay, both these lines are perpendicular. Okay, so ADE and CB. This is what we need to find. And one more is given. D and E are midpoints. Okay, D and E midpoints. These two are midpoints. We have to find BC, then AE, AD and DE. First let's find AD. Okay, if D is the midpoint of AC, then towards this side and towards this side will be equal. So total AC equal to what? AC equal to 10 centimeter. Then AD will be what? AD. D is the midpoint. Therefore, it will be half. That is 10 centimeter. Okay. Now next is AE we need to find. So here AB equal to what? AB is given as 8 centimeter. Complete line is 8 centimeter and this E is the midpoint. So AE equal to what? AE will be equal to half of 8 because E is midpoint. That is 4 centimeter. So we got these two measurements. This is 5. This is 4. Now we want to find the larger one of the larger triangle, that is BC. Here we can apply Pythagoras theorem. Okay. So BC equal to, what is the equation? Here AC is the hypotenuse and AB is the base. BC is the altitude. So in order to find altitude, what is the equation? Altitude equal to hypotenuse square minus base square. That is hypotenuse is 10 centimeter. So 10 square is 100 minus base is what? 8 centimeter. So 8 square is 64. So 100 minus 64 is 36. Root 36 is 6 centimeter. Okay. So here BC is 6 centimeter. And without calculating, we can find this DE. In how? BC is 6 centimeter. And here D and E are midpoints. And DE and this BC are perpendicular. Okay, if these two are perpendicular, then these two lines are parallel also. Okay, DE parallel to CB. If we have two parallel lines and that parallel line is the line joining midpoint of two sides of the triangle. Okay, D and E are midpoints. So we have learned in the previous section. Previous section means in the starting we have learned 4 concepts. In that third concept is what? If D and E, the line joining midpoint of two sides of a triangle, is half the length of third side. That means DE will be equal to what? DE equal to half of CB. That is CB is 6 centimeter. So DE will be equal to 3 centimeter. Okay. So this is first one's answer. Okay. Very easy one. Just to apply Pythagoras theorem and that concept. So first question over. Now next question. Draw a right triangle and the perpendicular from the midpoint of the hypotenuse to the base. First sub question. Prove that this perpendicular is half the perpendicular side of the large triangle. Second sub-question, prove that perpendicular bisect the bottom side of the large triangle. Third sub-question, prove that in the large triangle, the distance from the midpoint of the hypotenuse to all the vertices are equal. Fourth sub-question, prove that the circumcenter of a right triangle is the midpoint of its hypotenuse. In this question, we have to draw a right triangle. So we draw a right triangle A, B, C. And from the midpoint of the hypotenuse, draw a perpendicular line. From the midpoint of hypotenuse means D is the midpoint of hypotenuse AC. From this line D, we have to draw a perpendicular line. That is DE. DE is the perpendicular line from the midpoint D. First sub-question. First sub-question is prove that this perpendicular line, okay, this perpendicular line DE is half of the third side. Half of the third side means half of third side is CB. Half CB. This is what we need to prove. Without writing any equations or any steps, you can write the answer. Because perpendicular means it is CB is also a perpendicular because 90-degree line. So these two are 90-degree means we know DE parallel to CB. Okay, two lines perpendicular means that two lines will be parallel also. And if in these two parallel lines, D is the midpoint. So D is the midpoint means E will also be midpoint. Okay. So D and E are midpoint, and these two the line joining these 2 points, we know that the line joining midpoint of two sides of a triangle will be half of the third side. Okay, that is a concept. You have to write that concept. Okay, the line joining midpoint in any triangle, a line drawn parallel to one side is passing through the midpoint of one side, and the passing through the next midpoint. That means D and E are midpoints. Then the length of that line will be half of CB. Just write that concept. From that we can write that DE equal to half of CB. Just by writing that concept. It's obvious because a concept is there. If D and E are midpoint, then DE equal to half CB. Just by writing that concept, you can write the answer. This is first sub-question. Now second sub-question. Second sub-question is prove that this DE, the line, this perpendicular DE bisect AB. Okay, DE bisects AB. Bisect means divide into equal halves. Okay, so AB divide into equal half mean what we need to prove? AE equal to BE. These two parts will be equal. Next question number 3. In the parallelogram ABCD, the line drawn through a point P on AB parallel to BC meets AC at Q. The line through Q parallel to AB meets AD at R. Prove that AP by PB equal to AR by RD. AE equal to BE. Okay. E is the midpoint of AB, then we can directly write that these two sides will be equal, that is AE equal to BE. So we can write DE bisect AB. Okay. Now in the third sub-question, we have to prove that distance from the midpoint of hypotenuse D to all the vertices are equal. All the vertices means to the point A, to the point B and to the point C. Length. Okay, all these three length equal. That is to prove that, DA, D2 first vertex equal to D2 second vertex, that is DB equal to D2 third vertex, that is DC. DA equal to DB equal to DC. This is what we need to prove. First one directly we can prove. These two sides DA and DC are equal. Why? DA equal to DC. Because D is the midpoint, that we already know. Okay, D is the midpoint. D is the midpoint. Okay, therefore DA equal to DC. First equation. Now in order to prove DA and DB, we have to consider two triangles. Triangle DAE and triangle DBE. These two right triangle we have to consider. DAE, DBE. Here, which all are the equal sides? AE and BE equal, isn't it? AE and BE equal because E midpoint. Okay, E is the midpoint. So these two parts equal. And angle, 90-degree angle is there now in both these triangle. Angle DEA equal to angle DEB. DEB. Both are what? 90-degree. Now which is the equal side? DE. DE equal to DE because that is common. DE equal to DE common. So we got two sides equal and angle between them equal. So SAS, side angle side. Two sides equal and angle between that two side also equal. Therefore, third side will also be equal. Which is the third side? Third side is AD or DA. Both are same. DA equal to DB. This is the third side. So this is second equation. Now from first equation and second equation, DA equal to DC. DA's measurement and DC's measurement equal. From second one, DA's measurement and DB's measurement equal. That means what? All these three measurements are equal. Okay, from 1 and 2 we can write DA equal to DB equal to DC. If these two sides equal and these two sides equal means all the three are equal. So this is third sub-question's answer. Now in the fourth sub-question we have to prove that the circumcenter of a right triangle. Okay, circumcenter of a right triangle is the midpoint of hypotenuse. That is to prove. So we need to, here in this question it is a right triangle and we know this D is the midpoint. That means D is the midpoint of hypotenuse. To prove that this D is the circumcenter of a right triangle. Circumcenter means first of all we need to we must know what is circumcircle. Okay, in that circle chapter we learned that. What do you mean by circumcircle? Circumcircle means a circle passes through all the three vertices of a triangle. Okay, that circle must passes through all the three vertices of a triangle is known as circumcircle. Okay, like this. Okay, it must pass through A, pass through B and pass through C. That circle is known as a circumcircle. So suppose we have a circumcircle here. If that is a circumcircle, from the center to all the vertices length must be same. That means radius. Okay, all the radius will be equal. So here we have D is the midpoint. From third sub question we prove that DA equal to DB equal to DC. That means all the three are what? Radius of the circle. DA, DB, DC. All the three sides are equal. That means what we can say? D is the circumcenter. Okay, D will be circumcenter. And in the question it is given that this D point is what? Midpoint of hypotenuse. Okay, midpoint of hypotenuse. So we can say that the circumcenter of a right triangle will be midpoint of hypotenuse. Okay, so that is fourth sub question's answer. It's a very lengthy question. Four parts are there for the second one. Now let's learn one more question. That is enough from this chapter. Here in this question we have a parallelogram. Parallelogram A, B, C, D. Parallelogram means opposite sides are parallel. So here AB and CD parallel and AD and BC are parallel. And one more is given, a line drawn through P. Okay, line drawn through P in the line AB is parallel to BC. That means this PQ and BC are parallel. And same line drawn through R in that AD is parallel to what? This DC. That is RQ and DC are parallel. We need to prove that what? To prove that AP by PB. AP by PB equal to AR by RD. This is the thing we need to prove. So for that we have to consider two triangles. Okay, consider two triangles. First let's consider first triangle, that is this one. Okay, these two are different triangle because for this triangle these two sides are parallel. For this triangle these two sides are parallel. So let's consider triangle ADC first. Triangle ADC let's consider first. Now in triangle ADC, RQ, okay, RQ parallel to CD. If two lines are parallel, then that line cut the remaining two sides in the same ratio. We know that. Okay, that means this RQ cut AD and AC in the same ratio. So which all are the parts? For the first side, parts are AR and RD. So AR is to RD equal to, next side also in the same ratio. Which all are the parts? A, Q and QC. Okay, listen carefully. These two are the sides which cut by this parallel line. RQ cut AD and AC in the same ratio. Position is different. Okay, so AQ, part AQ is to QC. These two ratio will be equal. Okay, this is first one. Now second triangle. Consider the second triangle. Triangle is ABC. Triangle ABC. In this triangle ABC, which all are the parallel lines? PQ parallel BC. Okay, this PQ and BC are parallel lines. So this line PQ cuts this AB and AC in the same ratio. Okay, line PQ cut AB and AC in the same ratio. So which all are the parts? For AB, parts are AP is to, first part AP, second part PB. AP is to PB equal to, next part is AQ and QC. AQ is to QC, because for these two triangles the line AC is common. That's why we got AQ is to QC. Okay, so this is second one. So in these two equation AQ and QC is there, that we can cancel. So remaining is what? AR is to RD equal to AP is to PB. Okay, this is the ratio. Now we have to write it in fraction form. So AR is to RD. When you write in fraction form, what we will get? AR by RD. Like this we will get. Okay, AR by RD equal to AP is to PB in the fraction form. AP by PB. Okay, now check what we need to prove. AP by PB. Here AP by PB equal to what? AR by RD. Like here AR by RD. Okay, so this is third one's proof. Very easy, just by considering that parallel line, triangle division first concept. Okay, so just by considering two triangle, just write the ratio, then equate that ratio, then write the ratio in fraction form. Okay, so this is third one's answer. Up to this is enough from this chapter. Okay, the remainings are not so important, so it is enough. Chapter over. Thank you. See you in the next video with the new chapter.